The only reason I'm making this soup is because after Thanksgiving, what do you do with all the turkey bones? Come on. You don't throw them in the garbage. Maybe you don't like what I have to say next, but even the ones off the plates, the turkey bones that people eat, I didn't do it this time, but I've done it, and I'm still walking around. I just want to show you before we start, one of the items you may say, broccoli stems? How does that work? They're no good. This is the stem of one of the 2 heads of broccoli I bought today. This is after you cut down the sides with a knife. All this is usable and tasty, and everybody throws it out. That's what I want to show you. Now, these are the ingredients for the soup. Everything is right there. You can take a good long look at it. It can vary, the ingredients. These are the ones that I chose. But definitely, without a doubt, you must have onions, carrots, and celery in a soup. And tomatoes. Everything on this recipe is fresh. I'm putting brown rice and quinoa into it. The cabbage is red because that's what I have in my refrigerator, but I would use white cabbage instead, only because that's going to make everything red. And the potatoes, fresh potatoes peeled, ready to go. So let's just start, because this video is going to be kind of easy. Let's put this in there without making a mess, which I always do. Oops, hit the camera. Why I'm using a pot like this, so if I used a tall pot, couldn't get the camera in there the way I want, and this way you can see everything that's in there. That takes care of that. And then the potatoes, which I'm going to drain. So the most difficult part of this job, excuse me, is what you have to make before this, which is the stock. All I did was take all the turkey bones, put them in the pot large enough, and let it boil for a couple of hours, 3 hours. Take out the stock, skim off the fat, put it through a sieve, a fine strainer, and there you have it. Now what's in there is going to shrink a little, so don't think that, and then I'm going to cover it. I have to add the broccoli to it. All I'm going to do now is bring this to a boil, let it simmer until everything is tender, and that's it, except at the very end I make a mixture of a little cornstarch with water, and I'm going to use my finger to smooth it out, which people object to, but that's how it's been done for years in the kitchen. I could put on a pair of rubber gloves, but I'm feeding myself. So if you're opposed to using your fingers, well, how about the fact that you use your fingers when you cut up all the vegetables? Okay, then after after the soup is cooked, then I'm going to add the slurry of cornstarch and water to thicken it a little bit. That way the vegetables don't sink to the bottom. When you take your vegetables out, put them in the refrigerator, you want to take them out, everything is just equal in there. You don't have to go digging for the vegetables. Now it came to a boil. You notice how slow that's cooking? That's what you want. You don't want this to reduce. You want it to cook, and to help it so it won't reduce, keep the steam in there, the moisture, put a tight lid on it, and maybe that'll take about a half hour. So as you see, this is about an hour later. It hasn't really reduced much. But what I'm going to do is add a cup of water or a cup of stock. The water isn't going to change the flavor. It's just putting back in there what was reduced. So, nice and heavy. And the red cabbage only changed the color a little bit. So you can use any kind of cabbage you want. And you can increase the turkey in there if you wish. Whatever you have left. So now I'm going to thicken that slightly. Now that we have a little boil, I'm going to add the cornstarch. I like my soups heavy, whatever the ingredients are. I don't like a watery soup. If I make a mushroom barley soup, it's very thick with the barley and the mushrooms. You can almost call this a turkey vegetable stew. That was plenty. Now I'm going to dish this up. Just see what it looks like in a little soup plate bowl. And it's done. You can finish this up with a little fresh parsley on the top, scallions, whatever you like. Change some of the vegetables in there. And this is how I like my soup. Nice and heavy like that. I hope you enjoy it. I'll put down the yield amount so you'll see how much you should get out of it. If you don't get the same amount as I'm getting, that means you reduced it too much. So don't forget, that cooked slow. We added 1 cup of liquid or stock to it. Enjoy.